Welcome back to the Breakups to Breakthroughs Summit, a relationship and divorce summit for women. Your host for this session is Leslie Evans. Leslie is the founder of the Rise of Phoenix. She's a midlife women transformation mentor, and she's the host of the Rise Revolution Summit. Hailing from Calgary, Canada, she's got another amazing guest coming right up. Take it away, Leslie.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Welcome back. We have had such a great day so far, and with me, I have Jen Wrigley, and Jen is going to talk to us about the Flourish journey, your path to reclaim your joy. Welcome, Jen.
Hi, Leslie. Thank you for welcoming me. I'm so excited to be here.
I usually figure that there is a reason why someone is so passionate to share with everybody what they're sharing. So today you're talking about how to reclaim your joy and the path to take. Can you tell us a little bit about what's made you so passionate about sharing this with us?
Yes, and the reason I am so passionate is I am what you would call midlife now, but I have had tragedy and trauma and challenges that have shown up in my life since I was a little girl. And what I know to be true is that everyone listening today or watching this on the replay has had something in their life as well. Whether it's something when I was 10 years old, my father passed away unexpectedly and left my mother to raise 6 kids. Obviously, a very traumatic event. And I've had things since then. And I realized I had gotten to the point where I wasn't sure about going on in this life because there was so much heaviness and weightiness in my life. But I was able to turn it around. And I know there are a lot of women that are struggling with some of the, maybe not the exact same challenges, but challenges in their life as well. And I want them to know that there is a pathway to joy, which for some of us, it's really hard to think about that in the moment, maybe right now, but there is a journey, there is a path. And I wanted to be able to help women with that.
I love hearing this, Jen. It's you've shared with some really deep things that you went through and coming from that point of feeling so low, and yet you were able to find that path, reclaim your joy, find a way to flourish. And I would love to hear, how did that happen for you? You know, how can people
So
reclaim
I'll
their
tell you a little bit more about my journey. And like I said, we all have our own individual journeys, but this will help understand kind of why I do what I do and
Yes.
the depthness that I have in my the Flourish Journey program that I have. Which I just put the content out there. So it's just things that I know will help people. But I started off with the story of when my father died when I was young. And essentially we kind of took that grief and we put it inside and we didn't talk about it. We didn't process it. Back then there wasn't a GoFundMe opportunity or a way to necessarily bring the community together. So we kind of lost our way as a family. We didn't really talk about it. But after that, as I graduated from college, started kind of living my life. I had a couple more tragedies in my life. On Thanksgiving Day, we got a phone call after the festivities had been completed, and my sister was visiting us from California, had decided to relax and go take a bath, and we got a call that her husband had been killed in a car accident while she was here in Chicago. And that was a pretty significant traumatic event for my family. And 9 months later, my sister, whose husband had died, we got another phone call and she had been killed in a car accident. And so more grief, more trauma. And what I did and what many of us do, I kind of just stuffed that, down inside. You do what you have to do to get through the moment. You get busy, you do what you have to do, but then that grief got stuffed down. And then it was after that that I found myself on the literal kitchen floor, could feel the cool tiles on my face, tears streaming out of my face, and I was grief stricken. My mother had passed. And this was the point where, after multiple accumulations of these things, I did not know how I was going to get up off that floor. I really didn't think, what was ruminated in my head was, is this all there is to life? And I know that there are women listening that are maybe in that spot themselves where you just can't imagine that life can get better. But when I was on the kitchen floor, I started to hear some whispers, and those whispers were that, yes, life is hard. It can be full of tragedy, and you've had your share, but you will get up off the kitchen floor. You will get back. Your family needs you. Your daughters need you, and you will experience joy in your life again. And it was that little whisper, that knowing that came to me, that helped me get off the kitchen floor.
I was just going to say that you said it exactly the way I was thinking, Cheryl. Thank goodness for those whispers. And thank goodness you listened to them. Because those are not always easy to hear, are they?
No, and I know there's women on this call that maybe haven't gotten that whisper yet, or that knowing, but I'm here to tell you that I've been where you've been, and I know how it feels, but I know it's coming for you. So keep an eye out and be open to it. It's that whisper, that little bit of knowing, that little bit that can just change your mindset in the moment.
Right. Sometimes when you're in those depths, Jen, that depth of, everything that's kind of sinking you in that moment, it's hard to sometimes even hold out a little bit of hope, isn't it? But I love that you're saying to everybody here, there is hope. There is that whisper that even if you haven't heard it yet, it's coming. So keep open to it.
Yes. And we could jump right in if we want. I have some tips or
Absolutely.
practices.
Yes.
So one of the first things that I want everyone to think about doing is it's called the quiet reclaiming. And what that is, it's quieting your mind so you can hear your heart. And that gets right to what we're talking about, is being open to hearing those whispers. But this is a way to start building your life from the inside out, instead of life kind of driving you. And it's called the daily joy practice. I use a visual called the joy triangle. And what it is if you picture a triangle, and on one side you have stillness, and on the second leg of the triangle, you have gratitude. And then the third part of the triangle is intention. And what I want women to do is spend just 3 minutes a day on this practice. And so the first minute is sitting in stillness. Just try to let your mind quiet. And this is how you can start to reclaim who you are. And then spend a minute thinking about gratitude. And some women might like to journal it. Some might want to just think it. Some want to speak it out loud. Some want to draw it. But spend 1 minute thinking about the things that you have gratitude for. Because I know, even when you are at your very lowest, there is something that you could have some gratitude for. And it helps change your mindset. And then intention, what I want you to do is, for the third minute, is spend 1 minute thinking about your intention for the day. And this is the thing, this is not about your to-do list. This is about your intention for how you want to feel and how you want to show up for that day. Who do you want to show up for? Who do you want to spend time with? So set your intention for the day. And I promise, if you could spend 3 minutes a day on this joy triangle practice, it is a great way to get started on changing your story and changing your life.
I love this, Jen, because I think sometimes it goes out there that you have to spend hours or, you got to set so much time aside to do this. And I love that this is a 3 minute, 3 minutes just being still, 3 minutes just you can at least find one thing to be grateful for. Sorry, I said 1 minute, and then 1 minute, just what you want your day to look like. Not what you want to do, but what you want it to look like, who you
And
want it to be.
feel like.
How do you want to feel, or how do you want it to feel like? Exactly.
Mhm.
I love that. And it's just 3 minutes. Everybody can set aside 3 minutes.
Yes, and you're exactly right, Leslie. So this is kind of my reaction to being told pretty constantly by friends and family and well-meaners, you need to meditate, you need to meditate. Well, it's really hard for me to sit still in meditation. So this is a way that someone like me who has struggles with that, I struggled with, I know I'm supposed to have a gratitude journal, and I would buy this beautiful journal, but I would forget to fill it out. So it is kind of putting those together, but in a little mini practice that I feel we all can find time for.
So important, isn't it, to take those shoulds off your shoulders and the guilt of not doing something and putting it in a way that you can. That doesn't take a lot of time or right? It's doable.
Mhm.
I love that, Jen. I love that. So, well, this is one step to your path or one tool that you can use. What other ways
It,
do we get back? Yeah.
yeah. So the Flourish Journey Framework has 7 steps, but I'm going to talk about. I have a couple more to talk about depending on the time we have. But the
Yes.
next one that I want to talk about is the Flourish checkpoint, or you might think of it as a current life assessment. And the reason why it's so important to do this step is because we're so caught up in the busyness. And I know for many of you listening, you have a pretty big to-do list, and you have some really stressful things that you're dealing with. And I want you to carve out some time for this current life assessment. And again, this is all about starting to live a life that you want to live. So when I talk about this assessment, I'll break it down pretty easily for you. If you can jot down these categories. But I found myself trying to figure out, what do I want my life to look like? So this was after getting up off the kitchen floor and kind of just like, making those steps to continue living. I decided and I realized, wow, I've lost people in my life at a pretty early age. And I want to make sure that, whenever my time comes, that I've done the things that I want to do and that are meaningful to me. So I wanted to find a way to get out of that everyday busyness life and find a way to really figure out what's most important to me, but also what is not important to me, which is just as important. So what I want you to think about, there's 5 areas to really spend some time reflecting on, and you could write it down or speak it out however you want to. But the first one is, what and who do you like? So jot down, okay, what are some things I like? What are some people I like? And start making your list. Second is, what and who do you love? So this is going a little bit deeper. What are those people, maybe places, things that you really love in your life? And then the third thing is, what and who is holding you back? So are there things in your life that are kind of dragging you down or holding you back? And to be honest, these might be thoughts. You might have some thoughts, like I had this thought root that would run through my mind every day. Is this all there is to life? Is this all there is to life? And if someone had asked me my story, I'd go through the list of all the things that were wrong. So when we talk about what's holding you back, it could be a person, it could be your job, it could be your thoughts. So write those things down.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want you to think about who and what is missing in your life. So are there things that you wished you had in your life or that you notice are missing. It could be friends, it could be a family member, anything like that. And again, that could be thoughts and feelings too. And so just start to take a really good inventory of all of those things. And as you start to do that, you start to get a picture of what's working in your life, working for you, and what's not. And so start to continue processing it, narrowing it down. And what you're going to do is nurture those things that lift you up. And then you're going to start to release those things that are weighing you down.
I love this, Jen. 'Cause so often we can kind of focus on sort of what's holding me back. We get kind of blocked. Oh, I've got this block, and we forget about what actually is going well in our lives because we're so focused on on what's holding us back. And I love that you brought that to point when we start to look at really what we already have in our life and what's working, we can start to do that a bit more. And then we can work
Yes.
on those things, right?
Yes, and it's all about I'm talking about tippy toes, little steps. And that's why when people say, "Oh, you'll have joy again, or you'll be happy again, or you'll find that person again," I don't want to just give platitudes like that because that really doesn't work for anybody. But these are tools and techniques that you can just start incorporating little by little.
Right. And that's so important, isn't it? Especially when you're down low and you're already having a hard time taking the steps. It's nice to have some really nice, small, simple steps to take.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that. So what's next on the path to flourish?
So I think I'm going to talk about my favorite one next.
Okay, I love that. I
There's
love
some
that.
there's some interim steps, but my favorite part of the Flourish journey, and this is it doesn't even have to be tied to the Flourish journey, but once we do some of these reflection exercises, we start to bring in more of what we want, what's working for us, and we're starting to let go of things that don't work for us. It is now time to create your magical toolkit. It's actually the Soul Sparks toolkit is what I like to call it. And what I want you to do is start curating all the things that can bring you joy, can bring you energy, can lift you up when you're down. And I'm going to give some examples, but this Soul Sparks toolkit is specific for you. It's all about what can make a difference in your life. So, and I'll give some of my own examples so you see how it comes to life. But for example, I love music. And so for me, if I'm kind of feeling down and feeling low, one thing that really helps me is to put on a great playlist. So, and you can get a free Spotify account and you can start curating those songs that really lift you up. And you can maybe dance around the kitchen after feeling down for a while. That's just one example. Another
Yeah.
thing that I like to do is curate podcasts that have topics that I'm interested in. I'm a huge book reader or listener because I listen to books a lot too. So you might be able to, maybe you go to the bookstore or you go to the library or you order from Audible a couple books that maybe have meaning to you. It could be poetry or it could be a personal development book about something that you really want to think about or work on. Part of this Soul Sparks toolkit includes curating the people around you. Now, we talked about the people that lift you up, that bring you down, and all of that. This is a little bit more about those people that inspire you. So,
Mm.
is there a woman who kind of has that energy that you'd like to look for? Make time to spend time with that person, whether it's a Zoom or a coffee or whatever it is. And maybe she's not in your life every day, but she's someone that you know you can count on to bring you up when you're feeling down.
Jen, I love this because I think sometimes when we're down, it's hard to think of those things that kind of move you up. And so when you can have that ahead of time written down, it's kind of like, I'm just going to open my toolkit now and see what I want to grab out of it, rather than having to really think about those things that you need to do to pull you up when you're feeling down. I love that.
And actually, that is why it is so important, because when you are down, you're down. And if you have kids, that's not necessarily going to bring you up, because a lot of that is tied to, oh, I have to get dinner on the table, or I have to do this. So this is specific, curated for you, for things that can bring you up. And it's a toolkit that you have ready to go, whether you have time to read a book. For me, even something as simple as magazines. I have a couple magazines, like, okay, let me read a magazine. It could be a show, it could be social media, but only good, fun stuff on social media. It could be anything that brings
Love
me.
that, Jen. Love that. And I know I could talk about this all day and all of these things that are coming up. Unfortunately, we don't have all day. I know, Melissa, you have a free gift for everyone here. I know Melissa's going to put it in the chat for everyone here. There it is. Can you tell us just a little bit about your free gift?
Yeah, so this is actually something that it goes along with my theme of making it easy. It is a free 30-day self-care guide, and I have curated a list of 30 different ideas to help you take care of yourself, self-care things. Most of them are free or easy to do. But what I really like about it is I have 3 or 4 different trackers to go with it. So pick what works best for you, but you can actually track how well you're taking care of yourself. So every time you do one of those, or maybe you pick one of your own that's not on the list, but you're keeping track. So you can look back at the end of the month and say, wow, I didn't do anything for myself this month, so I'm going to make it a priority. Or, wow, look, I did, one a week or one a day, because some of them are really simple. So that's what I want to just give free to everybody, because that's another thing that can really make a difference in your life, is put a little bit of focus back on you.
Love that. Love that. Now you also have a VIP gift.
Yeah, so the VIP gift is really amazing. And what that is, so that actually has the self-care guide, but what it really is the ultimate healthcare equals self-care guide. And I am a big proponent that self-care is healthcare. And anyone who is struggling with health issues, along with everything else in your life, I really want you to understand that self-care is not a selfish activity. It is how you can really start supporting your own health. So it is the ultimate guide of self-care tools, techniques. It has mantras, a whole page of mantras for when you need those as a pick-me-up, all kinds of things in there that are for you. And it's really because I want you to start thinking about your health as well.
I love that. I love that. And it's so important. And I think sometimes we've gone so long without focusing on our own health. It's really nice to have this guide that can give us ideas on how we can do that in easy ways. I love that, and so generous for all of our VIPs. So we have 3 speakers coming up next on the hour: Angela Jackson, Rosalind Sadaka, and Linda Sunshine West. And so you can pick which track you go on, and they're all right there for us now. We have just a minute or 2 here left, Jen. And what's one last thought you'd like to leave us with?
I just want everyone to know that if you haven't heard the whisper that I talked about early on, just know it's coming for you. I know it's coming for you. I see you, and I know that the whisper, the knowing that life can get better and will get better, is coming for you.
Love that. The whisper is coming. Be open to it. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jen, for being here,
Leslie,
and sharing all of these wonderful tips with us and reminding us how important our own self-care is. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
All right. I know we have a little.
Wow, that was an amazing speaker. We're so glad you've joined us at Breakups to Breakthroughs for recordings of all sessions and an amazing VIP gift bundle. Upgrade to VIP now. If you have any questions or problems during the summit, you can email our support team at support@erfsummit.com. Stay tuned. We have another fantastic speaker coming right up.